Okay, I want to do a quick video. So it's Easter weekend. I went to a nursing home yesterday and did a real quick, like an Easter devotion. And it was, very much me, very odd. I told a couple jokes. Every time I did something new, I got like awkward and embarrassed, and I moved on to the next thing. So I did a little song. I play guitar, so I did a little bit of a song, a verse of like The Old Rugged Cross, and I sang it with everybody. And then, I'm not super confident singer and vocalist. And I only know like contemporary songs. So this one, The Old Rugged Cross, is not a guitar song. Guitar songs are a certain thing. Anyway, so the old hymns don't always translate easily. And then so I did a song, and then I told them a joke. I'll tell you the joke now. Someone told me the other day, stop acting like a flamingo. And they were very serious and just, very telling me just to behave myself. Stop acting like a flamingo. And that's when I put my foot down. So I told that joke, and I got some groans and some eye rolls from, these are all 70, 80-year-old folks, and they know how to eye roll like nobody's business. And then I told a little bit I showed how to play guitar. So I'm doing songs, guitar lessons, jokes, and little Bible stories. So I just told them that really guitar is, if you learn 3 chords, you're halfway there. If you can get your fingers to play a D, which is a little triangle, a C, which is like this, and then a G, which is, similar. So the key of G, G, C, and D, a ton of songs. Just learn the key of G, and almost every song in the world is available to you. And then I told a story. I started talking about things about the world as we see it, and how it shows a glimpse of what Jesus was talking about and why we believe Jesus is true. So life is full of mystery, and we claim to have some understanding, but the truth is, I have to pause. That was a very long pause. I'm trying to think of, Pascal, Blaise Pascal. One of the great things that just came into my understanding from him is this idea we're trapped between infinities. So the entire universe, the known universe above us, impossible for us to comprehend because we'd have to be bigger than it. We're some small middle territory. The entire infinity above us, trapped between infinities. We don't even know what goes beyond the visible universe. Then trapped between infinities, as we look at microscopic and subatomic and now quantum particles, it's an infinite depth. So we're in this space that's just right in the middle, and we claim to know what's going on above and below. We don't understand it all. I just started reading that there's a quantum action in plants' interaction with the sun. There's a quantum action, and now I have to look it up. Photosynthesis. Plants perform quantum computation. Scientific American. Physicists see quantum effects in photosynthesis. So, to me, the truth of the matter is we're always discovering things that are fascinating, but it's always the tiniest incomplete picture. So I'm 4 minutes in. I got to get to this Bible story, because what I wanted to tell you was, so one of the things I said was, you plant a seed and it looks like a stone. It looks like something. There's no way that in our mind, in our understanding, even now, as we explain it all and say, it's all natural. You put a seed in the ground, you bury it like it's dead. You bury it in the dirt, you even throw dung on it. And just to add insult to injury, this poor seed is like, don't kill me. And you bury it and you throw poop on it. And it's like, how could you treat a seed worse than that? Would you like that to be done to you? No. But Jesus says that death is part of this process, and we see it play out time and time again, that you plant a seed, and from the dirt out springs this thing that is an incredible, beautiful, glorious smelling miracle, this creation of a flower. And we act like it's natural. It's like, oh, it's just a flower. No, it's a flower. It's a freaking flower. And the idea of the enchanted world as opposed to the disenchanted world. Jesus talked about the enchanted world and said, if you guys aren't paying attention, God is doing miracles all around you. And from death, life emerges. Jesus made that plain in his life. So at one point in Matthew 14, the story of Jesus walking on the water, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into a boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he dismissed them, he went to a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was alone, and the boat was a considerable distance from land, and it was being buffeted in a storm, buffeted by waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. Of course they would do that. This, whatever it is supernatural. There's the natural, and then there's the thing that the natural seems to rest on. And we can't explore it with science, but we somehow understand through intuition that there's something else going on. We all know it. Even if you deny it and say you can't prove it, we all know it's true. There's something going on that we can't explain. And we know it. And we can't deny it. Even though people do. It's foolish. It's ridiculous. So immediately Jesus said, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." Peter, the great Peter, Peter's this awesome adventure. He's like, "Jesus, if that's you, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come out to you on the water. I'd like to do that. That would be so cool." And Peter is this great character. He's just ready to follow Jesus to impossible places. "Lord, call me out. I want to walk on the water." And who wouldn't? It's a bold, adventurous thing. So Peter goes out, starts walking on the water. So Jesus can do it. Peter can do it. So Peter starts walking, then he starts realizing what's going on, and he gets terrified. He starts sinking. And then Jesus says later in I think Matthew 18, he talks about the sign of Jonah. Jonah was buried in the water, in the belly of a fish for 3 days. He said, "That's the sign I'm going to give you to show who I am. I'm going to be buried in the earth." So this points to the resurrection. And then the earth is going to spit Jesus back out, just like the whale spit out Jonah, or the fish. I can't call it a whale, for goodness sakes, you guys. If you want to say something about it being a fish or a whale or chastise me, go ahead and put that in the comments. So, walking on water is certain death. You can't walk in the middle of the ocean. You will sink to your death. Peter shows it. Jesus says, "I have power over death, just like I have power over water. I don't have to sink down to my death. I'll do it of my own volition. If I drown, if I die, it's because I decide to." So it points to Jesus' death as a voluntary act. He can stand above ground and not go to the grave. He can stand above water and not go to the grave. He's different than us, and he's the same, and that's part of this Trinitarian mystery, is that Jesus is the same as us, and yet he's God at the same time. It's visible in his life. So read Jesus walking on water, Matthew 14:22, and think about the resurrection and as we come to each Easter. And I will talk to you later. This is Negotiating with Jesus. I'm Tom. I'll talk to you later.